Just rip that bird to shreds. Yep. Another episode of Unrelenting. What's it, 149 now?
In the can.
It's good. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for showing up. We'll be back next week. All right, everybody. Woo!
Y'all knew it was 2 hours early today, right?
It's a very, very quick show. Well, you thought it was a different day, so that's also, I guess we're very lucky you're not in slumber mode.
Well, there's this thing called an alarm that takes me out of that.
Well, that's the beauty of the new alarms.
But I was wondering why the hell it's taking me out of it, because today's not Friday until I looked and saw that it was Friday.
You're like, it's Thursday. It's not Friday. Mm-hmm. You missed a whole day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beauty of it. Man, you seem a little hot today. I'm going to bring you down. Well, I mean, besides that, how's the Starbucks doing today? Are we not sponsored by Starbucks anymore?
I know, right? Starbucks in the morning.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? Woo! Just use coupon code Unrelenting when you go in for your latte.
Okay, it won't work, but try it anyway.
Wouldn't that be great if you just pulled that over and somebody like walks in like Unrelenting? They're like, what? Start calling the police on you. Like, this guy's giving me keywords. I don't know what they mean.
I think they would be confused given the people that typically work at Starbucks.
Though this is true. They've gotten weirder. They were always a little weird. They've gotten weirder. Is that possible? Mm-hmm. The different color hair that you didn't even know was possible. Piercings where it's like
they used to be just sort of culty. But then they kind of became just like can't get work elsewhere.
Right. Because it's like you have a piercing that's like, did you want to pierce yourself there? I mean, it seems like you kind of missed whatever you wanted to pierce. Like, hey,
somebody
each your
explain to me the whole lip pierce thing.
I don't get it.
Because the nose thing, okay, it you want to pretend like you're a bull. I get it.
Right. Or you want somebody to be able to grab it and then guide you around.
Exactly. Clearly, that's the only reason people would do a nose pierce. But the lip pierce thing?
Well,
you like spilling your drinks or what?
Then the thing in the ear that you just for the really big hole in the ear, that's a little weird.
I see that so often in Austin that it's really, I guess I'm used to it. I'm not fazed by it anymore. But what I really dislike is when otherwise attractive women decide to pierce their upper ear.
Yeah, like all the way around.
What's the deal with that? I don't understand the fascination with body mutilation, because that's what it is.
Oh, I agree. But that even goes into tattoos, and I'm fine. I don't care what you do if you like tattoos. It is all just a little bit strange that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with people having tattoos. Just means I'm going to pay you at least $5 an hour less than somebody else who didn't have one.
Right?
But that's your choice.
Man, this is what my mom said because she's a big Judge Judy watcher. And she's like, every time somebody with like tattoos up and down the arms and necks, there's one thing when you have tattoos that could be covered by a shirt. Because then you could pretend they don't exist. But when they're like on your face and on your neck, she's like, people aren't going to hire you. Or as you just said, you're going to get paid less because of that decision that you made.
Joe Rogan could have made some money if he didn't have all those damn tattoos.
Well, he's making it himself. That's the beauty of it. You can still do that.
Not really. I don't subscribe to him.
Well, I know.
I would if he didn't have tattoos.
You're sending all that sweet, sweet Russian money to the pool man.
That's right. Yeah.
We broke that story last week. The Russian money coming directly from Gene.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm Darren O'Neill. He is Gene. We are Unrelenting.
I just don't understand if it's a gullibility thing or if people are genuinely that stupid. 4 years ago, well, actually more like 8 years ago, the the Russian money was roughly $8,000 spent on some Facebook ads.
Right. Which got them
And
nowhere.
and that apparently flipped the election to Trump.
Right.
If we believe that, then Trump is going to have a complete shutout. Nobody's going to vote a single vote for Kamala because this time around, it was a ginormous $10 million that was spent to licensed already existing products. Wow. I mean, I can't imagine how the vote isn't flipped by that.
Right. But it makes zero sense because unless you can prove that you changed the things they say, if you changed their opinion, you actually had them saying your propaganda, repeating it, you're giving them scripts. But this is a great way. It's very cheap. I wouldn't doubt at some point this all gets tracked right back to the Biden campaign or the Harris people, because it's a great way to try to take the bite out of the Tim Pools and the Dave Rubins to put that questioning shade on them like, oh, wait, they're just being paid to say what they say. They can't be telling the truth. And Cottongen says people are gullible and stupid. And I tried to watch CNN last night at 10 p.m. Central because O'Reilly's got his new book out and he said he was going to be on CNN. And I just figured that could be fun to watch. And he was giving them credit for actually having him on. I don't know if they did or not because the woman whose show it is, I don't even remember her name, probably a 30-year-old black woman, didn't mention at the top of the show.
Oh, she's great.
We'll be talking
strong and powerful.
Right. We'll be talking to Bill O'Reilly. No, didn't say anything like that. And they went in, and in the first 15 minutes, it was all Trump lied, 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 Trump lied about this. People eating pets in Ohio. It's like, we have video. We have literal video of somebody eating a pet. But, he lies. But this is where the problem is with the way the news is reported. What, are you going to
believe your own stinking lying eyes?
I understand videos can be manipulated, photos can be manipulated and all that. But the reports that are coming out from the boots on the ground and media is picking it up, not just the crazy. It's not just on TikTok.
Yeah.
So the media was picking it up. But I understand she's probably not a journalist. I mean, most people on CNN aren't. You and I are not journalists. We give our opinion. That's the show. So I'm sure she's opinion-based because if you're news-based, you do not say Donald Trump continued to lie about people eating pets. You say Donald Trump says, that this is what's going on, but we have not been able to confirm that. You do not go,
you say,
he lied.
Donald Trump continues to repeat lies.
Right. It's like, this is where they're throwing in. He lied. After the debate, really annoyed Megyn Kelly, which I thought was funny. The CNN dude looked like a total
called
dweeb.
Irony?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, she's not a Trump fan, but she is now, I guess. Came out with the video of the guy on CNN who was doing the fact-checking live during the debate. And by his count, Donald Trump lied 33 times, which I thought was just too good for the no agenda crowd.
Oh, that's precious.
And Kamala Harris, did you see this? Do you know how many times he said Kamala Harris lied?
0.
Once. I mean, they would be
once.
too obvious.
What did they find?
And it was something stupid. It was something like a technicality, kind of like, well, she said this, but, it was really this. So that was technically incorrect. It's like, Now, there are reports, and I don't know how good the report is, but there are claims that there is impending very shortly. So, I mean, we'll know if this is a hoax or not within a day or two. An ABC whistleblower, which will show that the Harris campaign was indeed provided with the questions. And I understand this is all conspiracy right now. This has not been proven, but if true, and the other part of it was the Harris campaign was told, allegedly again, that Trump would be fact checked, but she would not. If there's a paper trail that can be proven on this, ABC no longer has any credibility whatsoever. Not that they do at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they ever did, but I think people were surprised. I think very few people expected Kamala to actually do better than Trump, but she did.
Well, she seemed coherent. Now, Tulsi Gabbard said, now, I don't know if she has inside information. She probably does, that Kamala was going through drastic, massive acting training, which would make sense because this is what you would do to somebody like Kamala Harris, who up until this point, her public persona, which I'm assuming is the real Kamala, is somebody asks you a very serious question like, well, what do you think about all these minors being raped as they're trafficked across the border? And she'd come back with, so I don't know if they had to give her shock treatment or something, but she needed the acting lessons. Other people, of course, are going in the route that she had. I mean, it is a beautiful thing that the earrings looked very similar to headphone type earrings, but they were not the same. So, although now again, I guess if you have the CIA behind you, they could have made these for you.
Yeah. The thing is, you don't need freaking earrings to be able to have audio in your ears.
No, way easier to put something in the ear.
Yeah. That is, I think, funny. It's something people noticed and jumped on right away because, including incidentally, I don't know if you read the statement from the company that makes the earrings.
Yes, I laughed out loud.
It was great. It's such a troll.
And they were so like, oh, we are going to get so much press on this.
Oh, hell yeah. They're like, oh, it's our lucky day.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if they were the ones watching going, oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, shit. Look at her ears.
Exactly.
Look at her ears. Oh, my God.
Exactly. But it's not like somebody that has literally government level funding available to them and is in a controlled environment where there could be a transmitter literally 5 feet away would have a problem having an in-ear, even frankly bidirectional, but certainly a one-directional in-ear device that they could listen on that fits inside the ear canal. Like that is completely realistic, available technology right now. And I would be shocked if she didn't have it on. And frankly, I think it's kind of stupid that Trump didn't.
Well, the reality is she didn't say anything that leads me to believe she need to be fed information. I think she just memorized.
It was constantly saying, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh,
yes.
Don't laugh, don't laugh, don't
that
laugh.
I believe. They're shocking you. You know, I mean, that's it. They're like.
In fact, this is actually a good idea for a funny little thing to stick on X is just say that, pick the name of the organization, whichever one you want to credit for it, just received audio from a what do you call it? Yeah, well, somebody just received a clip of the audio that was played in Kamala's ears during the event, blah, 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 and just say it's a whistleblower and be very serious about it. And the audio is just literally, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh.
Don't fucking laugh. Don't laugh, don't laugh, don't fucking laugh, don't laugh. That'd be great.
Well, you can't vary it, dude, because then the person's going to start focusing on it. It has to be monotonous.
You've done this hypnosis before.
Yes, I have.
Gene's like, I got the tapes, man.
You'd be shocked how many people's ears I'm in.
Remember back in the 80s when it was a big thing, because I was working at a bookstore and they had those tapes like, stop snoring, stop smoking, stop. And it's it's subliminal messaging in the audio.
That's right.
Now you don't think this is being used today too? How's that technology working out? That'd be the other thing to play is like, a clip of Kamala speaking and then the subliminal audio.
Well, if you want to fall asleep quickly, you can certainly get a clip of her talking.
Yeah, that was not a good debate for either one. Nobody came out.
Ukraine is a country.
It is sad that this is what it's down to. I mean, I think Donald Trump had evidence behind they're eating pets thing, but I don't think this is a place you really wanted to go. I don't think this is an important thing.
I don't know. I think it achieved the goal, which is just to get people that maybe haven't heard about it going, what the hell? What the hell is he talking about? And then Googling it.
True.
Because the good news is that you will absolutely get results.
Yes. Yeah. And the more this is shown that it is not only quite possible, but probable, then all of the people that were saying Donald Trump was lying, just like the pro-life group came out and said, well, the fact checking of Donald Trump was the lie when he said that babies were allowed to be born and then just die. It's like this was happening, especially in Minnesota, where Timmy Walls is from. And it's interesting
and of course, I just Googled, pets eaten in Ohio. First result, New York Times, the story behind their eating pets. Next, Snopes. But no evidence Haitian immigrants are eating ducks, geese, or pets.
No evidence at all.
You know what Snopes is, right? Because it's like, no evidence, this does not exist. And you keep reading, and there's like, not a single person claimed ownership of the cats that were eaten in Ohio.
Right.
And therefore, they were not pets. False. Statement is false.
Yeah.
That's how Snopes operates.
This is why the fact that even Snopes has debunked the real fine people lie that Kamala and Joe keep repeating and others, then...
give it a week. They'll have to backtrack on the whole eating pets thing.
Oh, man, I just think Donald Trump should have been ready for the obvious ones. He could have saved himself so much time. I mean, I don't think any politician has ever done this, but why not take the video, the actual video, then add all of the context after it, but put it up on Rumble, put it up on YouTube. And when this comes up in the debate, you go, okay, everybody, I'm not going to waste my time. Just go to realfinepeople.com. All the information is there to prove they're lying. And then he has 2 minutes to talk about whatever he wants.
In this article about the fake pets being eaten,
the non-pets, they're still real animals.
The non-pets, it literally says it's blaming the town. Soon there were not enough workers. Many young working age people from Springfield had descended into addiction. So they're saying the whole town is basically one big drug addicted slum. And therefore the Haitians came to save the day and work there.
Well, the numbers on this were amazing to me, that it's a town of, if I remember right, about 50 to 60,000 people. And 15,000 Haitians have showed up. That's not like 15,000 Haitians showing up in Chicago or New York. This is, a third, a quarter of your population. It's like that is beyond what any area can handle. Like, you don't have housing for that. You don't have resources for that.
Well, sure they do. They
got plenty of geese in the pond.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, well, where do they have the most cats?
To be fair, I will say that if you look at this from a little longer perspective and a non-US focused lens, this does seem a little bit like the stories of certain English peasants shooting deer for food in the King's Woods. Meaning, what the hell's wrong with shooting geese and ducks and things? Now, cats, not probably the tastiest animal, but they certainly eat them in Haiti. You can Google that yourself.
Right. It's a thing. It happens. It's not a
They also
rarity.
eat them in China.
Yeah, different cultures do different things. So the concept that like, oh, this could never happen or would never happen. It's like,
it's
well,
ridiculous.
why would you say that? I mean, how can you even make that case? And I think it was somebody, I don't know if it was a politician from that Ohio area, if it was just a constituent, but was like one of the biggest problems are these people do not understand local laws. And it's like, well, why would they?
Yeah.
They just walked in the door. Nobody gives you a pamphlet, I guess, when you're coming in. Like
they also don't speak English.
Right.
They speak French in Haiti.
So it's like, what are we supposed to eat? I don't know. Look, there's some geese that I'm sure in Haiti, if a goose flies into your yard, free game.
More like, have you seen the price of food in the grocery store?
Well, that too. And where do you get the money?
Right. I mean, I buy rabbits for my pet. And I'm sure a lot of people coming in from other countries would be scratching their head going, why are you paying for something that literally reproduces automatically and instantly like every 10 weeks?
You're like, yeah,
that's insane. There's probably rabbits 10 feet away from you.
Go out in your backyard.
One. Yeah, really.
Well, you could just breed them. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
That a little too gory even for you to have to go out and find the rabbit and club it over the head.
I mean, there is a very specific thing there, which is the rabbits that my snake eats are award-winning.
Oh, well, I wouldn't expect anything less.
They're literally raised to be show animals.
A lot of people don't know this, but Gene's caviar guy, same one as the rabbit guy. If you want some exotic
definitely
meats,
not the same guy.
Like, would you like some?
I do have a rabbit guy, and he used to deliver too, but not anymore. So I have to drive out there and pick him up myself.
What a lazy rabbit guy! No delivery.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez, what's a good rabbit going for these days?
$25.
Whoa!
Right?
I mean, I could go in to get a rotisserie chicken for like $6.99.
Way less than that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if I could just talk my snake into eating rotisserie chicken, it'd be way cheaper.
Like, dude, this is way better. Have this.
I don't know. I can eat a rotisserie chicken in front of him, and he doesn't act like he's hungry at all.
Just looks at you like, ugh.
He's like, yeah, that's gonna take like a year off your life, right?
But it's so good.
It is. Tell me about it, dude. Although I will say, I'll take fried chicken over roasted chicken. It is just, there's something magical about fried chicken, man.
About the crispy skin. Is that the?
Yeah, it's like all the carbs, all the fat, and all the protein,
all at once,
all
just
one
coming
food.
in.
All three food groups: fat, protein, and carbs. Yeah, it is really good. I've had fried chicken twice this week, which maybe explains why I don't know what the hell day it is.
Maybe Eugene just slept through a whole day. He was in a fried chicken coma.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That could have certainly happened. But
I had half a barbecue chicken the other day from the place here. That's the, it's a barbecue kind of beef place. And they do great barbecue chicken, man.
What do they do with the chicken?
I think I know they finish it off on the grill. I don't know exactly. And it's slathered in barbecue sauce. So yeah, that's
okay.
That's bad for you because that's all your sugar. Because otherwise, chicken, pretty good. But you can take healthy stuff.
Good barbecue sauce actually doesn't have sugar.
Or whatever.
It has molasses.
Yeah, which is still in the sugar
which is
family.
Certainly plenty of carbs. Yeah. But using actual sugar is kind of cheating.
Yeah, I don't think they use actual sugar. I just meant it converts into the sugars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And somehow they just cook it just right and it's cut up just right, where at the end there's really not much left. Like with I hate cutting up the rotisserie chickens. I mean, they're delicious, but it's like real pain in the ass.
Do you cut them up?
I need better knife skills. Should I just pick them up and eat them as like...
I just use them with my hands, yeah.
Just rip it apart?
Yeah, because the meat should be soft enough to fall off the bone.
Just rip that bird to shreds.
Yeah, just use your fingernails.
It's like, what's the difference between that and geese? Huh? Nothing.
There's really, it's a taste difference. I've never been a big fan of ducks or geese. I
don't think I've ever had duck.
Eaten both. I've eaten plenty of both, but they tend to be fattier than chicken. And I actually like the the fat content of a chicken. And to me, it just tastes like it's just right. But some people love. My ex-wife used to love duck. She'd always get duck.
A little Peking duck.
No, not Peking. Like just roast duck.
Just regular.
Just like it. Just cook it just like chicken.
Just duck.
It's just going to be a little fattier meat. But they're all birds. They're all dinosaurs. They all taste pretty much the same, like reptiles.
They're all there for the eating. That's what the Haitians say.
Yeah, it's nature's bounty. They're just following God's word.
Well, this is true. I mean, again, this is how people survive. And you walk into a country like the United States, if you came from China or Haiti, like you said, where it seems cat eating is not all that rare of a thing.
Yeah.
You see a nice cat and you're like, oh.
Well,
dinner.
and I'm pretty sure both of my grandmothers ate cats.
Yeah, well, that explains it all.
Yeah, right.
Gene the cat guy.
Because they both survived the World War II during the what do you call it? I gotta get the B-12 in here. When the Nazis surrounded St. Petersburg, the siege of St. Petersburg, where nothing was coming into the city for like 12 months, and everybody had run out of food a long time ago. So the only food you're going to eat was going to be probably somebody's pet.
And they were delicious.
Well, they were better than starvation, I'll tell you that much.
That's true. Well, this is how you get into cannibalism then. You're like, oh.
Well, I think that's the next step, right?
This is, well, just wait till that's going on in Ohio.
Yeah, when we start getting more reports of cannibalism, I can't even say it, cannibalism, that things are not going well.
No. This is episode 129 of Unrelenting. I think I said 149. I was just skipping ahead 20 episodes.
You said 169.
69 dudes. And after our bounty overfloweth on the last episode where NetNed came in after the show with 100 Satoshis. And we're still trying to figure out how to spend that. CSB came in before this show with 3333 and said happy 13th. Yeah, it is Friday the 13th. Maybe that's why you were.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, except I thought it was still Thursday. But yeah.
Right. You're like, tomorrow's Friday the 13th, man. Like, no, today. People might be eating pets.
I'm staying out of elevators today.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck, or you think it's a like Tower of Terror thing where the thing is going to snap and you're going to go hurtling towards the ground.
Well, that's always the fear with elevators, right? Is
hurtling.
You have no idea who built that thing
to the ground. I mean, you hope you know that they were built by a professional company and put in all of these safety measures, and we're not exactly. Well,
they're supposed to have brakes. I mean, that's the one thing they're all supposed to have, but there's plenty of stories of them not having brakes.
Or the brakes didn't engage because it couldn't access the internet.
Right. Exactly.
Well, we had lost our
running
internet
Windows
connection.
7.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We lost our internet connection, so the elevator did not stop.
Yeah.
When it was hurtling towards the ground.
It's rebooting right now. It'll be back up in just a minute.
It's a beautiful thing.
And then you'll stop.
I mean, I've never really felt any apprehension.
Oh, you will next
elevators.
Time.
Well,
now that we talked about it.
Now, the building size does matter. Because if it's a 3, 5, even 10-story building, not all that concerning. Now, I remember having these thoughts when being in the Sears Tower or the Hancock Center in Chicago, where you're going up to the 95th floor and you're like, oh, buddy, that's a long way. Dropping from there would be way more serious if all of these security measures failed, as they might on a Friday the 13th.
So, just as I was about to close this Snopes story.
Oh, boy, you're finding new things that have been bumped?
I saw a picture of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. eating a dog.
Right, we've heard that. But it wasn't a dog, right? It was some kind of other animal.
Well, it's an unknown, allegedly, possibly dog, not a dog. So they can't corroborate, but it was barbecued.
Which everything barbecued is better.
Yeah, here's the official statement. Snopes takes no position on the claim that Kennedy intended to represent the photo he sent to his friends and him eating a dog.
Well, you see the left that goes nuts when somebody hunts anything.
There's apparently much better evidence for Kennedy eating a dog than for any Haitians eating a dog.
I guess, yeah.
Or cat.
Well, it's because he took a picture. The Haitians aren't taking pictures.
Right. They're not doing selfies of themselves eating pets.
Yes.
Kennedy is apparently. And he, I hear, works for Trump. And that means Trump is a liar.
Of course, Trump lies about everything.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
He has to learn, and I don't know if he's capable of doing it, to stay on point. He did well. Most people will agree he won like the first 30 minutes of that debate, but then started going off the rails.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if anything changes. If anything, the polling that is from the companies that have been accurate in the past 5-10 years are not showing a Kamala bump. If anything, they're showing Trump going up slightly. So the concept that like, oh no, she wiped the floor with them. Not really true. Because she didn't say anything. I mean, I can't even understand. She was so ingrained. And you know what? This does kind of add some credence. And again, conspiracy theory. But the fact is, she was so ready to just give the answers that when Trump would bring up anything, she would just not even acknowledge.
Yep.
It's like, well, I don't have an answer for that because I didn't prepare for that. Although I'm sure if she had the questions, she knew they were going to ask her. And let me get your opinion on this, because if you're the vice president and the softball question comes your way, that's like, is the country better off than they were 4 years ago? How do you not answer yes? I mean, that's an easy one. You just say yes. You know, due to the Biden and Harris, blah, blah, blah. Then you go on your whole spiel. But she didn't even answer yes to that. It's like she wasn't even prompted to. Yeah, wasn't even paying attention to the questions.
Yeah, so I would say this was definitely a win for Biden because it once again is more proof that you don't actually need to be elected to be able to control people in the government.
True. Barack has still got
earpiece.
He's got the thing going on.
He does have the thing going on.
It makes sense when she pulls out the Barack Obama style of speaking. It's just because he's feeding her the words right into her ear and she can't help.
Literally.
You know, it's like if somebody is like deeply Southern and feeding you the words.
And she's used to having a black man feed her.
You're like, hey, Willie Brown. Kudos to whoever found that little video clip of her with Willie Brown at a party. And somebody's like, are you his daughter?
Yeah. That
was great.
She was much better looking back then. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, you have that expiration concept.
She kind of looked like that, one of those, Cosby kid looking types.
That's how she got her way to the top. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yep.
I liked it was interesting because I don't know if it was the same firehouse or not. On 9/11, obviously, Biden, Harris, and Trump were going to various places. And it seemed there was a video with one. And again, I question everything. I'm not somebody, if I see it on the TikToks or the X or wherever, I'm still not going to believe it because I know what can be
you
done.
Use AI all the time.
Right. Which everybody should, because then you would understand that you should question everything. But there was a video that showed walking into the firehouse, and it was a huge, obviously big building. So I don't know if it was a firehouse or if where this was taking place, but Kamala and Joe walk through the big doors and there's a bunch of people you can see sitting there and it's like crickets. It's like, Uncle Joe and crazy Aunt Kamala that nobody really likes in the family, but they come to the gatherings. And when they walk in, nobody wants to be the first one to even say hello. They walk in and it's like crickets. And then they show the video of Trump walking into the same location and people go nuts. Like one, I thought that was beautiful, if true. But I also enjoyed fully the Joe Biden interaction with the older firefighter. And this was played anti-Biden all sorts of ways. And it's like, that's bullshit. It was a fun little interaction. And if Joe Biden had been like this his whole presidency, I might have actually liked him a bit, even though I think his policies suck. Because the guy's wearing a Trump hat and Biden's giving him crap for it. And Biden pulls out the presidential hat and he's like, hey, I'll give you my hat. And the guy's like, oh, you old fart. And he's like, will you autograph it for me? And Biden's like, sure. And the guy's like, oh, do you even know your own name? And Biden's like, no, I'm slow. I mean, it was hilarious. It was a great bit. And it was, again.
Oh, this is hilarious. So Snopes, since I'm still stuck on that website.
Get off of Snopes, Gene.
This claim is true. Biden did wear a Trump hat. However, he was not tricked into wearing a hat.
Right.
And he put it on specifically to suggest that no hard feelings and the country should unify.
Yes,
he's a great man.
He put it on over the other hat. I thought the people, people on the right are probably like, you forgot he was even wearing another hat, man. But it was hilarious because he's like, well, then he's like, I'm going to trade you. You got to give me your Trump hat. And the guy's like, put it on. And he's like, no. And then they got him to put it on. And the guy's like, do you want me to sign that hat? And Biden's like, hell no. I mean, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And it was a fun interaction. This is what politics used to be when we were growing up. You didn't agree with the people on the other side, but there were civil conversations. And in this case, the fact, that Biden didn't go off on the guy for calling him an old fart and making fun of him is because the guy was old too. I mean, not quite as old as Biden, but it was something that I think played out well, just like the other day when Bill de Blasio ran into Scott Libido, who is the artist who, gets him to do a little selfie thing. And then's like, this guy ruined New York City. And he's like, okay, have a good night, and walks away. Where there are ways you could have taken this in a much...
Scott is great. Yeah. I watch him every day.
He does brighten the day up, doesn't he? We bring his clips all the time to Planet Rage.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah.
He's such
a rager.
Yeah, well, this is why. It's like, this is our spirit animal, and he's not afraid to get in people's face. And the painting he did of Kamala eating the bald eagle goes really well with this new migrants eating cats and pets.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, it's all coming together. It is all coming together.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that a guy that talks like Scott is not a Democrat.
Because he's from New York.
Yeah.
He sounds
like he's
the
most stereotypical sounding guy out there.
Well, he sounds very much like a younger Sinatra. The voice, the manner of speaking. Of course, Sinatra from Hoboken, New Jersey. So right in that same bit there.
It's the mob part of New York. Yeah.
Right. Hey, that's
just across the river.
Just want to say there were different types of crime then, but a lot less innocent people getting gunned down. They wouldn't.
I went on a date with a chick from Hoboken once.
Hey, just once?
Yeah, just once.
You met the family and they're like, hey, you do anything we don't like.
No. When I picked her up in Hoboken, I was like, yeah, this ain't going to happen.
It was, you're like, no, you just had to make that checkbox like, oh, you live here?
Yeah, no.
This isn't going to go with somebody that has a boat
bridge and
guy.
tunnel girls.
When you have a boat guy, you got a caviar guy. You're not going to Hoboken.
That's back when I was working in New York.
Yeah. Can we talk about what you were doing then, or is that
in about 5 years?
Highly classified information. You don't want to know. If we tell you, we'd have to kill you.
Something like that.
But Scott brings the things that everybody on the right seems to be thinking. He will actually say them, and he's seeing what's going on.
And the man talks with his arms like,
I know.
It's nobody's business.
Fixing the audio is a trip with his stuff because he's all over the place walking around. But New York just passed a reparations bill. I mean, they're doing so well right now.
Oh, thank God.
They're adding this on top of that.
Yeah.
And we know Kamala's way for it. Even though she said, I mean, it's amazing. ABC tried to, well, they didn't really try to. They just mentioned the softball like, well, you've said this, and then you've said this. You've said this, then you said this. You've said this, then you said this. Why? I've never changed my mind on anything. And they just like, okay. Like, what a joke the whole thing was.
She's always wanted to close the border, don't you know?
Right. She wants to build the wall quickly.
Yeah.
And I bet you she'll have a new policy tomorrow or today. No tax on overtime pay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Be brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Trump could have done better. He did not stick with the straightforward pointing out of policy rather than, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, he was reacting way too much to
yes. You know, and that's what threw him off the game.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I think he was just used to dealing with Biden, where like reacting to Biden, I think actually works because nobody understands what the hell's going on there.
Yes.
But,
and then by default, you sound better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. What did he say? I don't understand what he said. So I wish I could respond. I have no idea what he just said. Like that works. But even though you might get cackling and stupidity coming out of Kamala, it's not the same end result because people like try to explain, well, what she's trying to say is that we should keep sending money to Ukraine because if we don't, then millions of people are going to be dead. But you can't do that with Joe. Nobody knows what the hell's going on there. But with Kamala, you can kind of, you can shoehorn what she said into something that you actually mean to say. So I think his tactics should have been different. He should have basically just ignored her the entire time and talked about things that he wants to do. And that would have been better.
Yeah. The interaction did not do him any favors.
No.
And he never even put her on the defensive. O'Reilly said, if this was me, when the minute the migrant crime thing came up, he's like, Trump should have looked at the camera and say, before I even talk about that, I just want to apologize on behalf of the United States to Laken Riley's parents for what happened to her. I think it was a horrible thing, and I apologize. And I would really hope my opponent would do the same.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, you look like an asshole. And you have to learn how to play. And I think Trump knows this. We've known this for years. It's like, it's not logic. It is not facts. It is emotion that is going to sway people.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to be able to get the emotion on your side, and acting like the victim, which is what Trump has been doing again with all of the grievances. And he really should stop talking about previous elections beyond saying, what I want are fair elections that everybody can feel confident in. I don't want people casting votes who are not legally allowed to do so. And that's all you have to say.
Yeah. And then you get her saying he has promised to be a dictator
from day one.
As soon as he's elected, day one, he will shut down all future elections. He said himself.
Right. They say a lot of things specifically that he said that he never said.
Well, and he has a habit of saying very nebulous things that could be taken a lot of different ways too, which is not helping him.
No. Well, he has to learn to be a little bit more on
come
point.
on, he's not going to learn shit. He's in his 80s almost.
Well, you need somebody in his ear that can keep him a little bit more on point.
Yeah. Well, and that company said they're going to come out with a set of earrings for him.
They're like, this is great. We're glad people are using these. I'm sure they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not that Trump needs anybody to feed him more words.
Yeah, I think this is one mistake that they made on the Kamala Harris campaign is they should have leaned into the whole she's going to look up information by just having her pull out her phone during the event and just look things up, or, have a text messaging conversation that she can just read off. That would appeal to people under 30 and completely turn them off Trump, because she actually acts the way that they do.
Right. Look, she's informed. She's got her phone.
Because you look at them, it's like, what the hell kind of moron is going to be trying to argue without looking up information in Wikipedia?
Right. Right. How else do you get your information?
I mean, it's right there. It's either in Wikipedia or it's a lie.
Or it's on Snopes.
Yeah.
They'll tell you.
Which will tell you to go look at Wikipedia.
And there is a brand new beta release of ChatGPT 4.0. It's now 4.01.
Mm-hmm.
The CSB was very jealous that we in the United States have access to it and he doesn't.
No, really?
So there must be something really good in here, or it hasn't yet cleared the regulators in the EU. I am going to be curious to find out today. I will use it for doing the chapters for today's Unrelenting and see if it can get the times right. This is something, for whatever reason, most of these large language models cannot match the time in the transcript.
Well, I can tell you why.
Why?
Because they count on their fingers.
Right. They have way too many fingers.
Exactly.
That's the problem with the AI. They should be using their phone.
Yep.
It's like, it's a very weird thing, because you would think mathematically, although as what was pointed out on No Agenda a few shows ago, for a while, all of the large language models failed on the question, how many R's are there in strawberry?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting thing to see how the things are.
But the other one that I've seen where they fail is in adding up percentages to 100 without explicitly saying 100.
Without getting to 100, you mean? Or?
Well, we kind of take it for granted that if you're mentioning percent, it means per 100, right? So if you're listing off a bunch of percentages of something, the total should always add up to 100.
Yes.
The AI, not so much, because you'll ask it, can you tell me in percent the breakdown of blah, blah, blah? And it will come up with things that are 110%, 118%, 92% total.
Well, that's just good math.
If you add all of the percentages up that it tells you in these breakdowns, they almost never add up to 100. And I think that's because the AI, the model that it was taught on, was news reports.
Yes, which never quite match up.
Which never add up to 100.
Well, that's interesting, because the strawberry thing, the question would normally be how many R's, because there are 2 R's in a row. That's interesting. So, it's BERRY at the end, of course, but they're forgetting that first one, because the question is not usually how many total R's are in the word. It's like, well, is there, Barry, BERY or BERRY? So that's why it's like, well, there's
Why
2.
is there 2 R's? That's a damn good question.
Yeah. I don't know. Who came up with this stuff?
Three R's, right?
Well, yeah, well, if you continue.
Straw or
right.
berry.
But there's 2 in a row, and that's where I can see where the confusion would be. Because otherwise you'd be like, well, just take the word and then count the letters. It's very simple to do.
Yeah. Why the hell's it called a strawberry anyway?
It's not made out of straws, is it?
No.
You can't drink your fucking drink
like
through
straw.
it. Nope.
Nope. It has no straw that it turns into when you dry it. Like what's the, now I need to look up the etymology of strawberry.
Hello, everybody. Should we ask ChatGPT 4.01 what
Definitely. Yeah, do it.
CSB will be so jealous. Like, Darren, you've got the ChatGPT I don't have. Oh, no, I need it. I'm sure you just have to get a VPN and it would all be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 01 preview.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, nothing sounds better than the clickety clack of the keyboard.
Yes.
Of course, it'll be. It'll all just disappear.
So in Middle English, which is where it comes from, strew means rare.
So it's a rare berry.
Mm-hmm.
Don't seem so rare anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our word strewn is from the same root as in things that are strewn all over the place.
Yeah, yes, this is it. The word strawberry originated. It took it a little longer now, and it tells you this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The ChatGPT 01 preview, quote, thought for 13 seconds, end quote.
That's longer than I did.
Yes. Well, for everything.
Mm-hmm.
The word strawberry originates from the Old English term strawberry, a combination of straer, meaning straw, and bergis, meaning berry. The inclusion of straw in the name has been a subject of debate, with several theories attempting to explain its origin. One theory suggests farmers use straw to mulch around the strawberry plants. The straw helped keep the berries clean, prevent weed growth, and protected the fruits from rot by keeping them off the damp soil. Mm-hmm. However, this practice became common after the name was already in use, so it may not be the original reason. Two, strewn berries. Another explanation is the word evolved from strewn berry because the plant's runners spread or strew the berries across the ground.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
Definitely. Yeah. Which is what the actual meaning is, not a made up one by ChatGPT.
A folktale mentions that children would thread strawberries onto straws or grass stems to sell them in markets as straws of berries.
Yeah, that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It says the exact origin remains uncertain. Wait, we have all of this information in our hands. How is anything still uncertain?
Well, it may be uncertain to it.
It's uncertain to
I mean,
people.
We do have this thing from about the 1500s that allowed knowledge to be preserved.
Paper?
Yeah, books. And we can actually trace through history where the term comes from. So, yeah, I think strewn is the correct relative word here. So the berries are strewn.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, because there are different relatives. See, what we call strawberries in the U.S. is not actually strawberries.
Wait. Now my strawberries aren't really strawberries?
Yeah, there's a similar family, like it's from the same family, but it's slightly different berry in Europe, which is, of course, where the term strawberry came from, which is quite a bit smaller and tastier, I will say. And it just grows in these little bushes, but not bushes. Like, I don't know, what do you even call them? They're like maybe 6 inches tall. They're not very big.
Ryan Bemrose says Strawberry Gatekeeping is a show title. Now, interesting, because I just asked ChatGPT, who is Ryan Bemrose? And it says, as of my knowledge cutoff, so this one is not accessing the web, I suppose, then, because there's a knowledge cutoff. Ryan Bemrose is, and it was October 2023 is its knowledge cutoff on this model.
Yeah.
Ryan Bemrose is a podcaster and technology enthusiast known for co-hosting the podcast Grumpy Old Bens alongside Darren O'Neill. The show discusses technology, media, privacy, and societal issues, often providing critical and humorous insights into current events and digital trends. Grumpy Old Bens is a part of the No Agenda stream, which is associated with the No Agenda podcast hosted by Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. Ryan Bemrose is recognized for his candid opinions on topics like software development, cybersecurity, and the impact of technology on society. His background includes experience in programming and IT, which he brings into his discussions on the podcast. The show has garnered a following among listeners who appreciate in-depth and unfiltered conversations about tech and its intersection with everyday life.
That sounds like an ad written by you.
I wish it was, but this is even better. Yeah, I know. Enthusiast. And nobody has ever said Bemrose was an enthusiast.
Well, I think enthusiast is the word that you would use if you don't mean expert.
Oh, right. That's one. Well, he's excited about it.
I
get you.
Yeah. You can give him a pat on the head.
You're like, thank you. Now, the Grumpy Old Bens is going to reboot any day. And then people will be surprised. Although it'll probably be a Friday show, though, because that's his day off now. So I'd have to work double time on Friday.
Oh, no.
Okay, now here's even better. Ryan, if he's, I know he's listening here, he's about to smile widely.
Mm.
I asked, who is Gene Naftulyev?
Mm-hmm.
As of my knowledge cutoff, there is no widely recognized public figure or notable individual named Gene.
That's absolutely correct.
It's possible. He's a private individual, a professional not widely covered in the mainstream media, or someone who has gained prominence after my last update.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Now, believe me, it costs a pretty penny to be able to pull my name out of all searches.
CSB with 1818. I received 01 yesterday evening. Woo! All ChatGPT Plus paying subscribers have it globally kurva, which means fuck. We know that now. We know that now. And I think I set this now. I'm not sure because I didn't hear a pew there from CSB. And I think
thank God. I'm so sick of those pews.
If I'm correct, only 10,000 and above will make it make noise.
Good.
But this is the first time I'm testing it, so I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, that sounds about right.
So how'd you get ChatGPT not to know who you were? This sounds like very shadowy 3-letter agency kind of stuff.
Things can be done.
Yeah, they can be done. Mm-hmm. You could threaten people. You can pay them off. Do you have
now, why is my computer telling me it's about to restart?
Well, because now it needs to update. Do you have your data wipe guy? Is he on speed dial?
My data wipe guy.
Yeah. When
you mean the cleaner?
Right.
Yes, I have the cleaner on my speed dial. Yes.
Oh, that sounds very Red. What was his last name in the Blacklist? Red, the character
Dawn?
name. That James Spader played in Reddington. Red Reddington.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a good show for like 2 seasons, and then it just totally lost me.
Mm.
It had a great concept. We need better writing out there, which is why I'm writing the optimal, no agenda style novel.
Oh, you're talking about it. I wasn't going to bring anything up because I figured it was still all his secret.
I mean, we're not going to give away all the good stuff.
No.
But it's like, it's time. It's time to pipe this thing out. My buddy M. Andrew Jones, he's piped out a few books, and Adam talks about those. And he just said,
"You want to give Adam talking about you more?" Got it.
No, I just want the book sales. I just want to see what we can sell on Amazon. I want to see if I can outdo your books. So see how that works. But I thought the prologue
shouldn't be hard. Well. Fiction outsells nonfiction about 20-1,
5 million to 1.
Well, officially 20-1.
It took a few hours just to do 2,500 words. I'm like, but really, what do you need for a novel? Like 80,000, somewhere in that range.
ChatGPT.
Well, this will be interesting too. Need. But it's like, I don't want to use ChatGPT because that would be cheating. Although I will say
that was really my first thought when I read that. When you sent it to me, I was like, oh, you're getting better at writing using ChatGPT. And I was disappointed when you told me you didn't.
No, but it was, I think it seemed fairly professional for a first draft kind of through, where the interesting thing of having ChatGPT.
It was a script, though. I was not prepared for it to be a script.
What do you mean a script? It was just a prologue. It was a first person.
It was 2 people talking. It's a script.
No, there was more. There was
more than 2 people, but you know what I mean. It's mostly dialogue.
Well, you do have a lot of I think I come from the Kevin Smith world where I like to tell the story through the dialogue of the characters. But
a filmmaker, yes.
Yeah, which is good too, because if they can make a film, if the book sells, that's great. If somebody goes, hey, we should really if Disney came to me, it's like, we should really make this into a movie, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I love Disney. The best company in the world. Make me my movie. Make me millions of dollars. But
yeah, it's funny. I've taken so many writing classes.
How many?
And I don't write fiction.
Well, you should.
I've taken hundreds of hours worth of writing classes.
Was the story compelling? That's the only question. You read through that. Was it like, would this grab you? Would it pull you in? Would it make you want to read more?
I think if you didn't mention Marchenko, it probably would have been better but I would have provided better feedback. Let's put it that way. Because I immediately was just starting to think about like, okay, how does this compare and contrast?
Right. Which is not as good, but
which I would rather have just you said, hey, read this. Tell me what you think. So, give less details next time.
Less is more. Now, the one nice thing.
Yeah, because you get more of a like first take kind of opinion instead of a comparison opinion.
Because part of this is a military thing. And the beautiful thing with ChatGPT was typing in what type of rifle would the Navy SEALs have been using in this year. And it spits that information out. Otherwise, that would have taken a lot longer to find the information.
Yeah.
Now, you're assuming ChatGPT was correct, and that would still need to be fact-checked. But
exactly, because frankly, the type of rifle that ChatGPT thinks Navy SEALs were using could be totally different than what Dick Marchenko actually wrote about using.
Right.
Which would be because one of the benefits that you do have in special forces is a much greater selection of personalized equipment.
Yes, you can use what you are comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's why he always had his HK, man. You never heard him say he had a 6-hour, I don't believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he was one of very few people that was an enthusiast of the HK pistols. Very, like, sales-wise, they did horribly. No one bought it. It's a very large, I think it was the Mark 23, if I remember correctly, which I always thought it was very cool looking. I don't own one, but it's a very large gun. Like, it's in a lot of ways, it's kind of old school because it's not as efficient as like a Glock or some of the newer plastic pistols. It weighs more. It's physically larger. It comes standard with a silencer screw mount on the front.
Well, of course. I mean, sometimes you don't want to be heard.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was certainly one of the weapons that was available through, in fact, they had a contract for U.S. military special forces equipment at the time. So, yeah. But, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like the James Bond Walter PPK, because that is not a standard sidearm of anybody in the British Army.
Which is why it's unique.
Yeah.
His choice.
And interesting thing, that was not the original gun that James Bond used. The original gun was actually a Beretta in, what was the caliber?
You mean in one of the first movies or in the books?
In the book, in the first book. And the gun changed to a Walter due to a friend of, what's his face? The guy that wrote it, saying, this is a ridiculous gun for him to be using. This is a woman's gun. He ought to be using something larger, but if you want something still concealable, then, try a Walter PVK. It's Ian Fleming. So Ian originally had James Bond using a Beretta. God damn, I cannot remember the caliber, but it was like a 32.
Well, because he looked it up on ChatGPT, and that's what it told him.
Yeah, he should have. Why didn't he?
CSB, another 1818, said the preview is limited to reasoning improvements. So if you switch to 4.0 and ask who is Gene, you'll get the answer. Cool, I know, but this was the funny part is that it knows Bemrose, but it didn't know Gene.
Yeah, as it should be.
Gene's wiping his identity from the internet as we speak. That's what he does during the show while ordering lunch.
Yeah, while ordering lunch and looking at Snopes. Yes.
I loved the way that whether it was Claude or Chat, whatever I used to do the paragraph for the last episode that said you had a killer hack on getting free guacamole. It's like, have the delivery driver drop it.
Yeah.
So there are things that
not really a hack, but
that the GPT doesn't really understand yet.
Well, it doesn't understand anything. It's just fake language.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the images that it creates. It's just a bunch of elements thrown together that approximate what it read. It's sort of like somebody discussing politics based on New York Times headlines.
Well, yeah, because it's not going to be accurate.
Right.
You could be like, write me a children's story about a little Pomeranian dog named CSB.
Mm-hmm.
And it will just throw that right out there for you. But
yeah. What kind of gun does a dog use?
It all depends what country you're from.
And I think this is where you start falling apart in trying to use ChatGPT, is by asking questions that clearly would not be answered anywhere that it would have read. And then the what do they call it, dreaming or delusions or whatever, start, where it just comes up with random shit.
Yeah, the hallucinations.
Hallucinations, that's the word. Yeah.
This came up with a story called CSB, the Curious Pomeranian.
No, of course it did.
Once upon a time in a cozy little town called Pawsville.
Oh my God. You're going to read the whole damn thing?
No, not the whole thing. There lived a fluffy Pomeranian dog named CSB. CSB wasn't just any dog. He was the most curious and adventurous pup in all of Pawsville. With his golden fur that shimmered like sunshine and a tiny bell on his collar that jingled with every step, CSB was loved by everyone. But I mean, to be fair,
does not sound right.
To be fair, you throw some artwork that another ChatGPT type thing can put together. You've got a children's book, because this is more than good enough to be a children's book.
Oh yeah, and then maybe we'll have the ChatGPT read it in Kamala Harris's voice.
Oh, that would be the greatest.
Yeah.
I saw James Earl Jones did leave his voice to Disney to continue using as Darth Vader, and that just pisses me off.
That does. Yeah, well, what do you expect? I'm sure that he didn't just leave it. I'm sure he sold it.
Right. And I understand it's like, okay, what's the downside for him? He's going to be dead.
But yeah, right. Because you remember Tom Hanks sold his voice too.
Yes.
And it's not a bad idea, because they can still get paid for it.
Still got money coming in.
Whereas as soon as movies start actually using fully synthetic actors,
right,
there's nobody that needs to get paid ever again.
Well, that's what was my concept, is if everybody that is an actor, actress, voice actor today licenses and sells away their image and voice, we never need real live meat bags to do the acting anymore after you have this whole new slew.
Well, this was literally the plot line of a 1981 movie called Looker.
Oh, I kind of remember the name.
Yeah. It was a great movie. I remember it like I watched it yesterday.
Did you watch it yesterday by any chance?
No, I watched it in 1981. But
the B12 wasn't kicking in quite yet.
Well, I didn't used to need B12 back in 1981.
You probably did.
No, really didn't.
You should have taken it then. You'd be really good now.
Maybe. But it was a movie about Hollywood doing digital scans of actors and models and being able to utilize them in computer generated movies. And then all of a sudden these people started dying through bizarre circumstances.
Uh-oh.
And that sets up the plot line for a detective.
And what came of it? And what came of it all? That's the question.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it. No spoilers for movies released in 1981 here.
Yeah, got to watch them. Got to go and watch them.
Hey, you may not have seen it yet. So I'm just going to give you like another year or 10.
The older movies are definitely better. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I get the Darth Vader thing. He was never in the suit anyway, which a lot of people, I think, are still confused about, even though Darth Vader was like 8 feet tall. He
would have been a lot chubbier, too.
Yeah. Which, I mean, would have been funny when it comes down to it.
Darth Vader would.
A short, chubby dude, like, I don't know. You got the Force. You don't need to be in good shape if you got the Force. But he has a very
That's probably true.
Unique voice, and it will just seem weird if in 10 years from now another Star Wars comes out and it's still using his voice. I guess it's an homage and it's nice. His family probably gets paid for it and all of that, but it is still a little bit weird. But as these things, as we said, it's going to be interesting when you can just license things. I bet you it's a lot cheaper to license dead guy voice than it is to hire somebody else to come in. And this also says the technology is at the place where it's ready for prime time. I don't know that you
need to pay somebody to license their voice. So that's the thing, is I think you don't need to pay them.
Well, because it's not really protected at this point, correct?
Well, the thing is, we've never had any copyrights on voices.
Right, because voice prints, there are people that sound a lot like other people.
Exactly. And it's never been illegal to be a voice impersonator and make money even as an impersonator, or be a comedian like Rich Little back in 1981.
Sammy Davis Jr. was great with the voices.
Yeah, well, of select people, yeah. But it's a fairly new thing that somebody would actually demand that they receive money for something that sounds like them.
You mean like Scarlett Johansson?
It's really not their voice.
Right. Which is why the whole thing with ChatGPT, and they immediately backed down. I'm guessing for fear of backlash from the public. But when Scarlett Johansson's like, well, they asked me if I would do this, and I said no. And then they came out with something that sounded like my voice, and ChatGPT, whatever it is, Open AI, came back with, well, we hired a voice actress who just happens to sound a lot like her.
So exactly. So now they paid somebody else who licensed that voice to them, who is fully entitled to copy the voice of a famous person.
Right.
And all we're doing is we're using the digital copy of that person, not you.
Now, you just have to be able to prove that the person actually exists, and you're not just taking, your voice and going, no, I found a guy that sounds just like Gene.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is a nice little trick, because I think the only argument somebody could possibly have in going after their voice being used for computer generation is in saying, well, that all you did was provide recordings of my voice to train it, so it is my voice and I own my voice. But this is the hack, to use that vernacular, is to simply hire somebody who's good at imitating voices to read something in that person's voice that is sufficient enough to generate a voice print. And it's actually not that much. When I did it, when my voice was synthesized, I think it took about 12 pages. Now they can do it from about 2 pages.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's some of them that are like you can do under a minute of audio and it can get you close.
Yeah. But for 2 pages worth of text, and it has to be a mix of the right words. So you want to have at least 3 examples of every type of sound that a person's going to make in the English language, which they've figured out how to do in as few pages as possible now.
Which I guess we're lucky that it's not as harsh as some of the other languages out there where it's harder to copy. I would assume anyway.
I haven't thought of that. That's a good question. I wonder how English rates compared to other languages.
Like Mandarin. Is it?
Do you think that would be hard? Why do you think that would be hard?
It just seems like there is a different sound palette that kind of expands, and it's one of those languages, kind of like Polish, where our buddy CSB, every time we say something, it's like, no, you're saying it in the much more formal way, where that's not the way people speak. There seems to be a lot more of that kind of a thing going on as well. Meaning that, there's
so
multiple ways
kurva
to say
instead of kurva.
Right. Totally different meaning.
Mm-hmm.
How come the live ping never went out? I did it using Gal, man. This whole fucking thing, man. Nothing ever works.
Yeah. You should just drop the whole podcasting thing and start being a writer.
I should. It would probably pay better.
Oh, I'm sure it would pay better. Yeah. Because writers are just raking it in right now.
Bill O'Reilly is, man. He sold 75,000 copies of his book in like the first 2 days.
But did he though?
He says he did. I mean, unless he's lying.
Don't think he did.
The first run was 750,000. I mean, he is the number one selling nonfiction author in the world.
That's definitely not true.
It is. Look it up. Go ask ChatGPT.
That these people calculate book sales. It's the same way that's always been done. Is not really book sales. These numbers are book orders from bookstores. And the way that works is they will order a certain number of books, which you can count as sales numbers, but those books aren't actually paid for
yet
until somebody buys them.
And we all know what happens to the paperbacks, baby.
Yeah, and anytime people don't buy books, they're never even returned. They are literally marked as destroyed, which just means they have some deformation that prevents them from being sold as new. And then they all end up on Amazon in the used book section. Because
for the hardcover,
tons, there's tons. Yeah. I mean, usually people don't buy paperback, but there are tons of books that you can buy that are brand new, essentially, effectively. They've never been read by anybody. They've never been opened. But there is some type of deformation on the cover that, or maybe the entire back cover is missing. They'll usually leave the front and then chop the back off.
Well, the way they used to get the money back with the paperbacks was you rip off the front cover and return that. Mm-hmm. That's how you got credit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the bookstores swore that those were all going to be destroyed. But I've got boxes of books without the cover from working at a bookstore. Anytime the book you wanted to read went bye-bye, you ripped off the front cover and thank you very much. Still very readable. It turns out even without the front cover.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, they don't care about being readable. They just care about being not sold as new.
Yes, that's it. So that way, they can get their money, or they're not making the bookstore. You can sell them used. You can sell them abused, whatever it is. It's a beautiful thing.
So he may have had that many book pre-orders from stores, but I highly doubt that many people will be reading Bill O'Reilly.
Well, he gives a lot of books away with everybody that pays for his yearly video service. Everybody gets a book. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And those are all counted as orders because they allocate 1 penny from your yearly subscription fees towards books. And now that he can legitimately say, we've sold 100,000 books day one. Well, no, you didn't. You're just shipping out free books to a bunch of people, but you've allocated a penny from the bill that those people pay anyway to watch you jibber jabber.
ChatGPT won't even mention Bill, but they will put in Michelle Obama.
Who is Bill O'Reilly? We don't know who that is.
That's right. He is not in our system.
No.
It's like that.
The whole book thing is a scam in general. And I know a lot of New York Times bestsellers. Like, I probably know people that are responsible for well over 200 books on the New York Times bestseller list. And they will, if you talk to them candidly, all agree that it's all a scam.
Well, it pays well, but not what people would think.
It pays horribly.
I mean, if you're
It pays
Stephen
about
King,
3 cents a book.
oh, which is just sad, isn't it? So you do much better if you just self-publish on Amazon, because then you can get a couple bucks a piece.
Yep, that's about right. I get about a couple bucks a piece from each book.
And you're like, yes, I can go out and call my caviar guy.
Yeah, right. Given that I am the single biggest orderer of my books.
It makes that $2 profit just seem like no fun at all.
No, not at all, because it costs me more than $2 to order them. So I think I've probably distributed out several thousand of these books, which incidentally is also extremely typical, because most people that write books will want to get a few thousand of them to hand out. It's this, like, maybe less true in nonfiction or in fiction, but for nonfiction, like what I've done, you always want to have in fact, I usually keep 2 or 3 in the car all the time.
Well, just in case you come run into a fan.
Yeah. Or you're just trying to talk your way out of, like, paying for a garage because you don't have any cash. And you're like, well, tell you what, how about I give you my book? It's worth $25.
And like, oh, is it good? And you're like, no, but that's not really the point, is it? I asked ChatGPT.
It is good. It is very good.
According to a ChatGPT, Bill O'Reilly has sold over 19 million copies of his books worldwide, which isn't bad. I mean, I guess even if you only make 25 cents a piece, that's still decent money.
Yeah, but I mean, if he makes it 25 cents a book, I'd be shocked.
What is the top author making at this point?
Who would that be? Probably that Harry Potter chick, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, because not just the books, all of the licensing for the movie and for all the toys and for all the accessories, man.
Yeah. I think she's way ahead of the everybody else.
And she won't bow down to the trans ideology. So God bless her.
Mm-hmm.
Although
she is a liberal.
Yeah, well, she's a liberal that's not entirely insane. I don't mind liberals.
Well, okay. Let's just remember what you mean by insane. There's one topic with which she disagrees with the liberal left on, and that is feminism. She's a feminist, and she doesn't like men pretending to be women.
Well, that's a good thing, I guess.
I mean, completely does not make her a conservative.
According to ChatGPT,
closely resembling that.
Traditional published authors make $1 to $3 per hardcover and 50 cents to $1 per paperback sold.
That's very high.
Gonna get high, high, high.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Kindle publishing, self-publishers can earn 70% royalties. That's interesting.
After the price of the book, yeah.
Between $2.99 and $9.99, or 35% royalties for the ebooks priced outside that range.
Yeah.
For print on demand, you can make $3 to $5 per paperback copy on a book priced around $12 or $15. See, this would be beautiful. If you write that novel, you price the book at $15, you make $5 a piece. You really only need to sell, 1,000, 2,000, make it worth its while.
Yeah, but it is damn hard to sell that 1,000.
We need the marketing. That's it. We need to get on Rogan.
You totally need marketing. So if you tie in some characters into this book from the No Agenda universe, you got to license that first, right? So once you license that,
you just have to characters. You just have to do what really intelligent people do is you make the character somebody that the people will know who they are, but you're not using their exact name or likeness.
Right. And then, but if you license it, then they'll promote it. If you don't license it, they won't promote it.
True. CSB wants to know, what about the problem of AI sucking up all of our fresh water and electricity? Is that really a problem, CSB?
Well, I mean, it does, that is something that definitely has a lot of people talking, is that the whole AI thing, second maybe only to the whole cryptocurrency thing,
right,
is a waste of energy.
Well,
it is sucking up a lot of energy.
It's amazing that we're going through the Green New Deal scam. We're going through the global warming scam. We're going through the climate change scam.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we're going through the crypto revolution and the AI revolutions, as you just said, which both of which are taking up massive amounts of resources. How are these even allowed to be legal? Or do you think that's the end game for governments? They're going to be like, well, you can't do crypto. You can't do AI because of the...
I don't think the individuals are the issue here. It's the corporations that are doing it so a lot all at once is the real problem. How many books did you say O'Reilly sold?
19 million.
Okay, because the total number of books published in the U.S. was 788 million.
Well, this is worldwide. His Killing Jesus.
Oh, so he mostly sells books in Russia.
A lot in Russia. I mean, the Killing Jesus, I forgot how many languages that was in. It was printed in China, I believe it or not. I mean, there have been...
They would approve of that because they do like to be anti-religious.
So it's very interesting that this is 19 million worldwide, but that is still pretty impressive for...
Okay, that's a phony number on top of a phony number. No one gives a shit about worldwide sales. That means literally nothing.
Well, the
only sales that matter are tracked sales to the U.S.
So if Vlad...
No, it doesn't to the author, because if he makes 50 cents a book in the U.S., he makes half a penny internationally.
So if Vlad called you up and like, I need 10,000 books, you're like, that's not even real.
If Vlad calls you up, then you know it's not real. Yes.
No, he's got you on speed dial, I thought. I mean, I know you've got a caviar guy, but Vlad needs a guy. You're Vlad's guy for something. I don't know what, but you're Vlad's guy for something.
Wouldn't be doing a podcast if I was Vlad's guy for something.
You are doing a podcast.
Exactly.
This is it. You're promoting Russian propaganda right here.
I ain't getting paid for that.
Oh, sure, you say that. You say you're not getting paid. How do I know what's coming through the kibbles and bits line there from Moscow?
Well, you're the one in charge of sending me PayPals, and I know I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, but Vlad wouldn't pay through me. He'd be like,
he would totally pay through you.
You stupid American. Do not let him know we're sending you money.
Mm-hmm.
Because how would Boris and Natasha talk? That's more what we should be.
Boris and Natasha.
Yeah. Stupid moose. Now, CSB, if you would have just like taken all of those and added them together, it might have been over 10,000, and we could have heard if a thing would make noise. But otherwise, it's nice to have a nice silence. Silence is golden.
Yeah, I kind of prefer silence on podcasts. Thank you.
This is hey, that was the line from Todd Snyder's song about the music scene. When he says silence, music's original alternative, I was like, that's absolutely genius.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty good.
Like, this is what sometimes it's even better, just silence. And some people can play the silence better than others. I mean, Glenn Beck does it. We don't because we talk too much. But when you hear some of these people delivering, although when the silence gets to the point to where you're looking like, wait, did my internet go down?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's too long.
Yeah, there is normal speech certainly has some silence in it, which is why I always use software to remove it. But some people just go overboard with silence. And I kind of usually refer to that as preacher talk.
Yeah, which is waiting for a reaction, maybe.
Yeah, well, or you're like waiting for someone to, okay, he's not saying anything, so that last thing must have actually been important. Just to try and sort of manipulate conversation. And it works sometimes. I mean, it's all right, but it also is overused by some people, and it gets to a point of being annoying.
Well, because they're told, well, never speak first, or never, never be the one. It's like, what, sometimes you have to. It's like to get the upper hand, never speak first.
I don't know about that.
Bemrose says that I kind of.
Hey, Bemrose, you want to call in or something? Because you're sure talking a lot for a guy that isn't doing a podcast.
I know. He says, I kind of prefer silence to listening to this podcast too, but here he is listening to this podcast.
What's up with that? Or at least send some money with that.
Yeah, send a boost.
Like you're literally sending messages from him for free where everybody else has to pay for them.
Where's your node, Bemrose? Is the node back up?
You don't see a dude named Ben sending little messages in the middle of the show, do you?
Well, he could. He knows how.
Well, he'd have to pay for them, and he knows he'd have to pay for them.
He's like, oh, yeah, Gene won't let me. No. I have to go on just good old boys.
Well, he'd send them to you, not me, obviously.
Everybody liked when I'm like, oh, if you're on X, if you're following me and you're a real person and you want to follow back, because I just ignore that. I don't pay any attention. And I think most of them, for a long time, most of them were bots.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're a real person and you're really reading this and you would like me to follow, let me know. If you're a bot, just follow Sir Gene. Did you get any new followers from that? I figured might boost you up a little bit.
Yeah, I got a handful. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
This is marketing.
They're all bots, though.
They're also, this is nice that the bots are like, oh, wait, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm the bot. I should be doing this. And did you like the album artwork? I mean, we kind of took yours and added a little bit to it.
Yeah.
And girls jumping on trampolines. We're going to see if that works for a marketing standpoint.
Oh, it always works for marketing. Yeah.
This is the beauty of AI.
Remember, the thumbnail has to have nothing whatsoever to do with the actual content. That's the rule.
That's the best part about the show.
There's a guy that I watch that's a gamer YouTuber guy who's doing a 100+ hour marathon stream right now. And because he's doing this big long live stream, he's actually creating the videos that he's going to post as different episodes on the live stream. So it feels like half the time that I tune into him feels like a lesson in video editing, because he's literally just sitting there editing yesterday's video
while live streaming. Yes. And people think it sucks when we read ChatGPT on the show.
Yeah. And this, you know how editing works. It's like, oh, let me tweak that. Let me play it back. See how it sounds. Oh, nope, a little too much. Let me back off of that. Change this a little bit. Turn the music. And then I watched him work on his thumbnail for about 25 minutes. Like just, in Photoshop, like tweaking colors slightly. This is a little oversaturated. Let me just bring that back just a tad on that layer. Let me now go to this layer and then make the blues a little more bluer. I don't like this. Let me change that a little bit. I was like literally for half an hour.
It was compelling television, it sounds like.
Well, it's playing in the background while I'm doing other shit, but still, it's one of those things that most people don't realize how much work it is making the tiniest little minutia. This is what I realized when I tried doing the whole gaming streamer thing years ago, is that, and I made a video about it, which basically said for me to make a half-hour 4K video of playing a video game is roughly 8 hours worth of work.
Which is insane.
And that's not a good ratio, because you need about a year to 2 years of daily videos in order to get a sufficient following built up.
Well, yeah, and this is why the no edit method is very popular. Now, there's a lot of people who don't understand that their show has to get better before they're in the no edit zone. For professionals like you and I, or Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak, the show is ready. I still run it through another filter to take out all the weird little noises and that, but I know it's not necessary. Most people would never even know the difference.
Yeah.
If we didn't,
and I've gotten a lot more used to that, a lot more casual. In fact, I'm no longer removing the dead air
and the
ums or the dead air. I'm leaving everything in at this point because, well, for two reasons. One, I think I've become a little more desensitized to that stuff myself, so I don't care as much. But two is, over the last probably 3 years, and having software that tracks all the uhs and ums,
Right.
Being self-conscious of it, I have gotten to a point where I do a lot fewer of those. I use those words a lot less.
You can break yourself from that. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's certainly a nice crutch to have software that could just simply remove all that stuff, but it is not a requirement.
No, what people don't get is you're way better to have the awkward silence, because that is a lot easier to trim down.
Yeah.
Especially when people talk, and when you do something like, I mean, and then you start talking, it's like, well, how do you cut that? Because you went right into it wasn't separated. The filler word and then what you're saying is like all connected. So I don't know how good an AI can handle things like that, where if you just
editing becomes more tricky then.
Leaving the silence is better. The one thing that I noticed when doing editing early on with Grumpy Old Ben's was Bemrose, like a lot of people, quite often when collecting your thoughts, repeats the same word over and over. And I see this all the time. People on TV, professionals that have been doing it for 20 years, they do the same thing. They repeat the words because they're thinking about what they want to say. And then rather than
my other co-host,
Ben
is notorious for that.
And you're like, it's editing that out.
I'm sure does not notice because he doesn't ever edit his own shit. But as somebody that edits or used to at least edit those shows, there's a lot of that. There are tons of words which are repeated. I do it occasionally. Everybody does it sometimes. But I have found that Ben does that a lot. And you don't really notice it when you're speaking to him because it's all very natural flowing.
Right.
But you certainly notice it when you have software that shows it to you.
Bemmer's assuring me every word he says is gold.
I'm sure. Well, send some of that gold our way because we're not going to keep reading shit you're sending without some sats attached. Buddy.
He's in the troll room, trollroom.io. Where anybody
and that
can
doesn't
go
mean you can bypass the sats
during the show. Why don't you get to the troll room? You should be in there.
I've been permabanned by the guy you're talking about, literally permabanned off there.
We will open it right back up for Gene.
Keep talking for a little bit. I need to go pick up a package. I'll be right back.
Okay, now the only question is going to be which guy has provided this package to Gene. Any guesses? Is it the caviar guy dropping something off at the door? He may be Bemrosing. That's true. He may just be like, I really had too much of that caffeinated Starbucks espresso shots in a can and just have to go and relieve that. Or it could just be the rabbit guy. No, he doesn't deliver anymore. It could be the sushi guy. Could be the guacamole guy. Could be the iced tea guy. There's a lot of guys in Gene's life. Have you noticed that? Not a lot of women, a lot of guys, though. You never hear that it's a pointy chick that provides the caviar. Nope. It's always a guy. It's always a shadowy figure. Most of them deliver, though. I can understand that. And this reminds me, though, too, we also need to check with Gene to find out if anything ever happened with the full-length mirror that was delivered to his home. I want to know if he ever opened up the box to make sure that there was a mirror in there, and if that ever found a nice home. Oh, he's falling over as he's coming back into the podcasting area. Man,
okay,
that looked painful on the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nah, it's all right.
Which guy was at the door?
This is my insulin guy.
Oh, well, he may be the most important guy of all.
Yeah, normally I would just leave a package sitting there. But since this is refrigerated package.
It gets warm in Texas?
A little bit.
Let me ask you this. What happened to the full-length mirror that you were trying to get rid of? Did you ever verify it was a mirror?
It's still in the box.
It's still sitting there.
Yeah. Well, I can't open it.
I'm telling you, what if this is like a priceless painting that was just shipped in a mirror box? And Gene gives it away.
That would make for a good story, wouldn't it?
This would be the best story ever, that you like give it to Goodwill and somebody finds it and you're like, oh shit, that was sitting in my foyer for like 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never knew. Never knew. I ordered a frame the other day that came in damaged because the Amazon delivery driver, and I didn't order from Amazon, which I find this interesting as well. The company is using Amazon to deliver even when you order directly from their website.
Yeah, they're using Amazon logistics.
Which is like, this is really, I mean, I knew that Amazon providing their own delivery was going to hurt UPS and the other folks at the time. I mean, less or so, but FedEx and DHL that were still doing some deliveries, and the post office some deliveries. Now they're actually taking business away, which is a beautiful thing, but somehow this was a box. The frame was, say, a little over 20 something inch, maybe like 22 by 22 with a plexiglass, and the box was closed with staples, and somehow the box came open. And at some point in delivery, the thing must have like slid out. And when it slid out, the staple went across the plexiglass. So, of course, it's like, I'm going to need new plexiglass.
I just got some dry ice. Nice.
Oh, what can you use that for? Is a snake like it?
It increases the CO2 level in the house. It's perfect.
Oh, this is that like a dead head in that box you just sent me?
What?
Oh, wait, sorry, wrong. No, that's a completely different image.
Yeah,
but this was from
somebody else's image.
We've ordered from them before. It seems like a decent company. Art to Frames. We are not sponsored by them or anything, but they seem to do good work. And what annoyed me though was their customer service. They're in, I think, California or something, of course.
Of course. And
when I went to just look, they have their phone number on their website, which is good. It's like at the top of the website. Boom. So if you need something, you call up, and I call up and it's like, you are first in line. Minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You are first in line. Minute. And then finally went to leave a message, but I realized I was calling outside of their normal business hours. So your phone system should immediately just say, we are currently not open. So somebody forgot to set it, or the timer, whatever it was, didn't kick in. Maybe daylight savings confused them. I don't know. So that was annoying. So the next morning I went into a chat and they asked for the information. They asked for a photo, which I already had because I knew they were going to ask for a photo. And then at the end of all of this, they're like, well, email this information and this, and this to CS at Art to Frames. I'm like, wait, isn't that what I'm here for? I mean, why isn't there just a page that says, if you need this, then email us? Why am I going to the chat and providing you with any information whatsoever if you're then going to send me?
Because they want to discourage you from sending anything.
I think so.
Yeah.
Which then it took like 2 days before they emailed to confirm. It's like, well, this should have all been done immediately. This is just crap we're framing here. But it's like, if this was for, like my nephew, we just had the baby shower for them. It's like, if this was for a gift, I'd be really annoyed that you're not like, sure, we'll send you this replacement out immediately. It's like, I'm giving you the photos, giving you the information. It's like, what kind of question could there still be? Yeah, I know. Memro says Amazon drivers do not give a fuck about your packages. This is directly from an Amazon delivery driver.
Yep.
That is no question about it. This is why my Liquid Death got damaged. Along with the frame. But they also didn't have the matting in there. So they were going to send me shit anyway. And I can only imagine the cost of shipping a 20-inch or whatever it is. It's at least 20 inch by 20 inch matting that still has to be shipped flat and in a big expensive thing.
What the hell are you getting framed?
Just a lithograph.
Of what?
Taylor Swift.
Of course.
Yeah, got to have another one. Hey, I mean, she may be a crazy liberal, but she's still hot.
Never been. Definitely isn't in her fucking 30s.
I know. I mean, the cutoff is coming. I mean, 35 is next year.
You must have a shitty memory, because you actually used to work with actual hot women, and I think you've forgotten what that looks like.
There was some more than others. I mean, there was.
You mostly work with the ugly playmates. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to use that word. That's a wrong to say that. But there were some that were more attractive than others.
The airbrush type of playmates.
Right. There were some that were a lot more plain. Though the one that does, I don't know if she's still out of Austin, but she lived in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Ecoletta Johnson. Oh, she was freaking hot. Then I think she was doing like real estate or something out in Austin. So maybe you ran into her when you were trying to.
Probably. Yeah. She's probably too old, though.
Well, for now, of course. You're like, she's got to be, got to be close to our age. So, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
She's like, that's just way too old.
I love, I saw some comment recently of a photograph of Jennifer Lopez or whatever
J-Lo?
her name is.
Or there's a lot of different Jennifers. There's J-Lo.
Yeah, the J-Lo one. And somebody commented, it's like, boy, I bet Ben, what's his face?
Affleck. Well, that's not J-Lo. That's right. Jennifer Aniston, not Aniston.
It is
Jennifer.
J-Lo.
Oh, you're right.
J-Lo.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking Jennifer Gardner, but no, you're right.
Yeah, Garner. Yeah, different one. But
they both had Affleck, right?
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
He probably misses this. I'm like, miss a 50-year-old bitch? No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
So it is crazy. The completely unrealistic impression that people have, not just of themselves, but of other people that may have been hot 30 years ago, is insane. How anybody thinks that a 50-year-old woman is hot is beyond me.
You're like, it's just way out, man. No way.
It's just objectively impossible. It is literal impossibility.
You're ignoring the DNA. You're ignoring
exactly. Like, you can pretend that your wife is hot because you'd be in trouble if you didn't, right? I get it. I understand that you got to lie, but somewhere deep down, every man has to realize that they're lying, even while they're doing it, if they think that a 50-year-old woman is hot, because it ain't true. It ain't the case. It's like, if there's one woman left on earth, yeah, she's hot. Okay. Given that there are literally billions of people on earth, over half of which are women, that's objectively an impossibility, because if you think she's hot, all you got to look at the women that are younger than her, and statistically a higher percentage of them will be hotter.
Gene at SirGene.com.
There's nothing magic here. That's not insulting. It's just reality. It's just, we are programmed, whether it's by God or nature, you take your pick, to be attracted to somebody that is at the peak of their reproduction.
Which age is that?
Which is a 22-year-old woman.
22. Gene's only 22 to 35. There's that.
35? Are you fucking crazy? 25.
Oh, 22. This is why you only need 3-year relationships.
Yeah.
And then repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
I mean, I was going to think you were going to tell me that, Elvis Presley and Jerry Lee Lewis had it right. Go with 14.
Jerry Lee Lewis was also related, wasn't he?
It was like third cousins or second cousin or something.
Or first cousin.
And it was like his like third marriage or something too, which also, I didn't know this until way more recently. I was thinking, every time I had heard that story, I was assuming, that they were both young, and, I knew he was older, but that this was, his first. It's like, this was his third marriage to his second cousin who was like 14 years old. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire indeed. But the boy could
talk about himself at that point, I think. But yeah,
the boy could tickle the ivories. But this is why when people,
he's entertaining, although I don't consider that type of piano playing to be particularly skillful.
It's a mood setter.
I just don't like that honky tonk shit, or not honky tonk. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, do you like
B12? Kick in. I took you already.
Do you like Professor Longhair?
Boogie woogie. I don't like boogie woogie.
Well, Professor Longhair is a little bit more than he's the guy that kind of created that whole New Orleans sound, but it's a similar piano kind of playing.
Yeah, it's basically just tuning the piano.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
I also, just to not single out the piano, I also don't like guitar with distortion. I don't understand why it exists.
So you're not into heavy metal
everything
at all.
sounds at all. Everything sounds so much better when you play it on an acoustic guitar.
There was I think she's British, on Rick Beato's channel yesterday. Or within the last couple of days. It's a young artist. Her name's weird. It's a like 3-name thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she's big on the internet, but she did a couple of songs, and definitely they showed she has a basis in much more of the Sinatra type crooning songs and like the show tunes from like a Rodgers and Hammerstein thing from way back.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a couple original songs, and it was just her playing a piano and singing, and it's like, wow, that is so nice to hear.
Right?
That is so nice not to have the overproduced, and I've said that even, even Tay-Tay, the latest album, it's like, yeah, there's 48 songs, but I can't tell one from the other.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Can't tell one from the other. That is where things start to fall down. But the reason I'm a Taylor Swift fan is I was fully into country music when she broke. I wasn't even listening to like any rock or anything else. It was all country.
Mm-hmm.
And the older stuff I still say is better, which happens to so many artists.
When she had that interview where she was talking about a song and she just has too many notes.
You got to have less notes. You only need 3 chords in the truth, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is all y'all need.
That's true. Because you keep in mind that when that's all you need, you're definitely missing talent.
No, this is when you're eking out the most. There are some very simplistic songs that can hit home. And I guess it depends what you're looking for. Musically, they're not complex at all. But sometimes the most, if you're talking about like what Mark Knopfler does, very simple tones. It's just the way that they're played. It's not it's a very simple guitar. You'd probably like Mark Knopfler if you don't listen to him. He can play. Mm-hmm. It's not overly distorted. But you can write a very simple song, which is what country music is all kind of based on. Hank Williams stuff is not complex. You're not using a lot of minor chords. You're not throwing in a lot of variations.
Yeah, it's because it's not really music. It's just poetry with some background.
But isn't that what music is? Where do you separate music from pop songs?
Music is something that a person without training can't do. That's music.
Okay, so you're only you have to go to Juilliard and be trained to be able to sit down and perform real music. Anything, if you are not professionally trained.
If it has lyrics, not really music.
Okay, so what's your favorite Russian classical?
I mean, there is a lot to be said for Russian classical music, certainly from the 20th century and earlier. But no, I if I'm listening to something that I want to be inspired by, I'm usually going to put on Bach.
Bach.
Yeah, because it's very mathematical. It's not frickin' easy. I've tried. And
this is, if it's too hard for you to play, then it's good.
Yeah, that's right there. That's the standard.
The
3 chords I can do. That's not a problem. So that's not real music.
We were watching something the other day, and somebody mentioned Bach, and I did the Bach, and my wife's like, "Okay, Radar." I'm like, that was it was such a great episode of MASH. When they were trying to, because he liked the girl that liked
your wife needs to record herself saying that and send me some of these audio files so I can put them on the Stream Deck and then hit them at appropriate places.
It works. It all works out.
I'm sure.
So when he wants to really impress the girl that likes the classical music, although I'll tell you, as somebody who looks through all the music that is coming out, which is a lot. This is where I get my music. There's a site, you just go through, and I don't search. I just go every day, once a day. There's usually 15 new pages, probably 10, 15 per page. And if it is
Tay music every day,
no, not new Tay, but overall everything, and I will say any woman that is holding, any classes, some of the hottest women are the ones in the classical music, but they're all like violinists or pianists.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, well, you always know if it's a hotter chick, especially if it's a Russian or an Asian, then the music's going to be great. Don't know why.
I think, I don't know why either, because those really don't have anything to do with each other. Did you ever watch that TV show that was on for, I think, 2 seasons about the classical orchestra? I can't remember what it was called, but it was.
Was it a reality show or no?
No. It was a totally scripted show, but it was a storyline of this young musician who I think she did go to Juilliard's or something. But
they always go to Juilliard.
I know, right? But she's in New York and, just barely making ends meet and trying to get into an orchestra and just playing all these little side gigs to pay the money. And then I think she's a clarinetist. And then she
not a flautist.
Getting hired by an orchestra, one of the New York orchestras that is a very good position. And it's just kind of following her. And then there's a whole, love interest storyline and all this stuff happening. But the setting for the TV show was an orchestra. And God, what was it called? I can't remember the name of it. I think it was on Showtime or something. Maybe either Showtime or Cinemax. One of them two.
But
it was pretty good.
I do not recall.
The music was good.
Now here's the interesting thing. It's going and going and going. I typed in to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Scripted show about orchestra.
Yeah.
And it created a show for me.
Oh, nice.
It's like title, The Symphony of Life, genre, musical drama.
Oh my God.
Drebs Scott just came in with 4, 5, 6, 7. When I need music to help me focus and get crap done, I have a John Williams channel I have curated. Well, he has a lot of good movie stuff.
Yeah. And I was going to mention that is that if you are tired of the standards, meaning like you're tired of listening to Beethoven, Mozart, and Bach on public radio. Really, some of the best classical music, in my opinion, ever created is created as movie scores.
Oh yeah,
tons of movies, and there's actually not that many composers that are doing it because you'll see the same names popping up over and over in Hollywood movies.
Well, they're probably cheap,
but yeah, I don't think so, man. I mean, like I've actually bought some music that it's crazy. Like they don't sell their music. They only license it to movies. So they've got a whole collection of pre-created music and pre-recorded music.
And you're like, where does this fit?
Isn't sold anywhere until some movie licenses its use, and then it's part of the soundtrack to that movie. And there's a guy that I found years ago that literally, like, he's one of the very well paid composers in Hollywood. And then he's got samples, like little 30-second clips of his stuff, but you can't buy the full piece. It's so frustrating.
You're like, I want to hear it.
Oh, this sounds great. I want to hear this. And it's like, nope, nothing is available. It's only licensed. And we're talking like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions.
See, we got to get my book written so we can turn it into a movie so you can hear the music.
Oh yeah. I would love to do that, man. That would be great.
Drebs Scott said John Williams keeps the energy up, although he did say I have to remove some of the Star Wars stuff as there was way too much in there. And besides, Star Wars bites, LOL. Well, besides the first 3. I mean, there were only 3.
There were only 3, exactly. Well, and I posted on X there's something where I can't remember what I was replying to, but something that says, Star Wars, isn't that episodic TV show about strong, powerful women?
Sure.
That's Star Wars, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's what I thought.
What else would it be?
Because that's all most people, unless they're our age and saw the originals.
And you saw Princess Leia as Jabba the Hutt's slave?
Oh, I saw saw more than that, man. I saw the what are they called? The recordings back on the movie set behind the scenes of that scene.
The outtakes?
No, not the outtakes. The behind the scenes that was filmed by somebody's relative that was in, observing the movie being made. And yeah, there was a PA that yanked Leah's chain a few times to the point where she was pretty pissed off about it.
Did it go into fisticuffs?
It was pretty funny because, like for the scene, the Jabba's supposed to be, keeping her on their leash.
Right, which of course Jabba's not real.
Jabba's not real. So somebody's got to do it. And this kid clearly was going to have some fun with this basically naked Carrie Fisher and started yanking on her, yanking her chain.
Back in the day, we'd have had a lot of fun with a pretty naked Carrie Fisher.
Dude, you could still have some fun with a naked Carrie Fisher as long as she looks the way she did back then.
Gene, she's dead.